Why, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Dave and Dave podcast. Oh, wait, that's wrong show. I'm not Dave and Dave. I'm Anthony Walker. This is the Wrestling Matters podcast for you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have a big show today that I'm going to do because I got a lot of stuff that I want to get off my chest. I have on today's show a few things I want to talk about. I've got one being 5 shocked matches rumored for WrestleMania. This WrestleMania coming up. When was that? Let me check. February 6th. Oh, so that's relatively new. Okay. So, yeah. And I also want to talk about what happened on Raw this past week. Because it seems that Monday Night Raw has gone back to the ways of what it used to be. And not just Monday Night Raw, ladies and gentlemen, WWE in general. Of things that are not making one iota of sense. And things that are just, don't make sense at all. And it's like, for God's sake. Right. And to be honest with you, I get why they have done it. What they have done. I get why they have done what they have done. But still, it makes no fucking sense. It makes no sense. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about, and I'm going to talk about this video that I've got here, about what could be the matches for WrestleMania. And I'm going to do that right now. So yeah, we've got a lot to talk about today, so there might be a bit of a rant here today. And also, not just the fact that WWE have screwed up a little bit again, booking-wise at least, going into their WrestleMania 37 show, which is in April, 2 nights again. But it seems they have left the fans with pretty much on their face, pretty much. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, 5 matches rumoured for this year's WrestleMania. I think a few of them will be pretty obvious, but we'll go with it. So, number 1 on this list, the first one they mention on this list is Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks. I think that's pretty obvious where that's going. The first I believe the first black females main eventing WrestleMania for a title. I mean, Bianca Belair wins the Royal Rumble. These two are supposedly good friends, and then they compete with one another at WrestleMania for the title. I don't like the factor, according to this video, that they're going to do, or they are looking to do. Because it goes back to where... How can I put this? I hope you guys can hear me, by the way. I've got my mic here, so... you should be able to hear me. It goes back to where... How can I put this? Do WrestleMania. Everybody, or the year leading into the WrestleMania that had Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch. Everybody wanted to see Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch. They could have had a chance to see it at Survivor Series if it hadn't been for Nia Jax. With the injury and whatnot. So they took her out and put in Charlotte Flair. And then Becky goes to win the Royal Rumble. And this is the biggest opportunity ever to have, Becky versus Ronda at WrestleMania. And what do they go and do? They throw in fucking Charlotte Flair for good measure. Well, they think they're probably doing the same thing for this. Because it seems to me, ladies and gentlemen, that a babyface versus babyface match doesn't compute anymore in wrestling. Especially in WWE. Especially in WWE. It doesn't seem to compute anymore in wrestling. Because the person that they're looking to incorporate or are thinking about incorporating in this match with Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks is Bayley. I can think of a better way to use Bayley at WrestleMania, but that's another issue for another day. But just let Sasha Banks wrestle Bianca Belair at WrestleMania for the title, which is more than likely going to be the SmackDown Women's title. And Bianca wins and goes over, and we're all happy. Bianca wins her first title at WrestleMania. That's what it's going to be. That's what it should be. You know, and if they do go with this, it's gonna be like the WrestleMania with Becky Lynch and Ronda. They're just gonna ruin it. I mean, we could have had a match that would have probably been epic, Ronda versus Becky at WrestleMania, but we didn't. We ended up having the triple threat, and the triple threat was great, no doubt about it. But let's just say we all wanted to see Ronda versus Becky. We didn't want to see Charlotte Flair in that situation, but it's WWE. We get it. But yeah, like I say, just keep it Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, please. The next one is a match that we're all going to see. It's all pretty much going down, even though people still want to see this Edge and Randy Orton, and Edge settled the score on Raw, on the Raw show. It's going to be Randy Orton, The Fiend, at WrestleMania, from what it says here. And these have a history going back to their match for the WWE title at WrestleMania previous. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of stuff. I mean, the rumor has it's not even going to be a match. It's going to be a cinematic match. It's, a Firefly Funhouse match, kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious considering what's gone on. They've burned each other. Alexa Bliss has burned him, Randy Orton that is, and stuff like that. So this is going to go down. I could see that probably happening as well. The next one that's on the list is a match that, in my opinion, should happen, and really should happen. And the person, not Charlotte Flair, yes, it involves Charlotte Flair. The person who Charlotte's going to be facing should go over and make it even. Is a WrestleMania rematch from last year with Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. Now, I don't know how this is going to work out. I could probably see, because at the end of the day, this whole thing with Lacey Evans and Charlotte Flair and her dad and everything is pointless beyond belief. What they should do if they go with this match is, and I can't believe I'm even saying this, an Elimination Chamber, Lacey should go over and wrestle and beat Asuka. Yes, I'm sorry to even say that, but it's, that's the case. And then have Charlotte beat Lacey at Fastlane, or whenever before Fastlane, maybe on Raw, whatever. And then have Rhea Ripley and Charlotte for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania, and Rhea Ripley goes over as a revenge because Charlotte took the NXT title from her. So let's have Rhea Ripley take the Raw Women's title from her. It should be this, if they're going to go with it. Because to be honest with you, Rhea Ripley should never have dropped the title to begin with. At WrestleMania, she should never have dropped the NXT title to begin with. That should never have happened, in my opinion. But Rhea's back. I say just let these two go at it. I mean, it's going to have a belt. And even if it doesn't have a belt, Rhea should go over anyway. But, yeah, put the women's title, the Raw Women's title on Charlotte Flair. Put the Raw Women's title on Charlotte Flair and have Rhea Ripley go over. It's going to happen. this feud with her and Flair and Lacey Evans can't go on for much longer. But the problem is, even though I said Fastlane and everything, it's more than likely going to end up going to WrestleMania. And it's more likely going to end up being Lacey Evans versus Charlotte Flair for the women's title at WrestleMania. I can see that happening. Anyway. The next one is a match that I hope does not happen. But it may very well be. Because apparently this year's WrestleMania is going to have fans back in the stadium again. They're going to bring the fans back in the stadium again for this year's WrestleMania. So it's more than likely going to be rumored, since the fans are coming back, and maybe WWE are saving this moment for that. You know, maybe WWE is saving this moment for that. Drew McIntyre, Brock Lesnar, the rematch from last year. Drew McIntyre is still the WWE champion. Brock hasn't been around since God knows how long. Hell, I don't even know if he's under contract. But bring Brock back, since there's going to be a crowd there this year's WrestleMania, these 2-night spectacular. It more than likely might happen. I hope it doesn't, and I'll give you my reason of what should it have been in the first place later on. But I won't be surprised if it happens. And the other one is a pretty obvious one. Pretty obvious, down to earth, no-brainer, so to speak, because it's going to happen, even though people don't want it to happen, even though people want Edge versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, and blah, 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 blah. It's pretty much going to happen anyway. Roman Reigns one-on-one with Edge for the Universal title. It's going to happen. That's pretty much the obvious one out of the whole 5. If I'm honest. Sorry, I just had to go get a drink there. That's pretty much the obvious one out of the whole 5. So, yeah, pretty much. And like I said, I'll give my explanation on that in a second on there. So, yeah, that was the 5 matches that were pretty much going to be rumoured, and a few of them are pretty much going to happen. If they are booked right. But WWE's booking has been shocking as of late. Now, I watched the JD from New York podcast the other day. Now, don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of things I don't agree with what he says. A lot of things I do. But I agreed with a bit of what he said about this. Monday Night Raw has gone back to its old ways again of not giving a fuck. Pretty much. And WWE pretty much turning around and going, fuck you to the audience. Edge wins the Royal Rumble, and we get into this picking malarkey now with him picking out the Raw, SmackDown, maybe NXT, considering he showed up there one Wednesday night and got in the face of Balor. What is the point of what happened on Raw? Shane McMahon returns and says to Adam Pearce, we need something big for the Elimination Chamber. So now at Elimination Chamber, it is 5 former world champions, former WWE champions, going after Drew McIntyre's WWE title. Yes, WWE have forced Drew McIntyre to compete at Elimination Chamber inside the Elimination Chamber and defend his WWE title. So, Elimination Chamber is pretty much pointless. Okay. Bianca Belair, and I know why they've done this, because they haven't picked, Edge hasn't picked, and he did the same with the women's one as well. Edge hasn't picked who's going to wrestle as well. So what they're going to do is have Drew McIntyre face it, and if Drew McIntyre survives, Edge will have a choice. But the whole thing is pointless. What they should have done is this. And I know a lot of people will agree with me on this, but what they should have done was this. How the fuck can you have this? Drew McIntyre. Edge wins the Rumble. Not a problem with that whatsoever. 48 years old, whatever. I don't give a shit. Okay. Probably should have been Bryan, but anyway. What they should have done is this. Have Edge pretty much come out and just pick Roman Reigns. Pick him. And then still have the Elimination Chamber match, but take Drew out and put somebody else in. Take Drew out and put somebody else in. And then have a number one contender this match. And have Sheamus go over. Why the fuck did Sheamus kick his best friend for 20 years and turn his back on him to go for the WWE title? Everybody wanted Sheamus and Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. Why in the flying fuck did Sheamus... What the hell did Sheamus do that for? If this is going to happen. WWE has not only said to the fans, they've made Sheamus look like a complete idiot. What the fuck did he turn on Drew for? I mean, the whole Drew thing, him turning on Drew, made sense. It made sense to begin with. I mean, when you turn on Drew, we assumed that it was going to be Drew McIntyre and Sheamus at Elimination Chamber. Fuck WrestleMania. Let's have it at Elimination Chamber. But we all wanted it at WrestleMania. That's why I say, put the Elimination Chamber in, stick Sheamus in there with the guys that are already in there. Why the fuck the Miz is in there, I don't know. I'll get to that in a second. Okay. Stick Sheamus in there. Have Sheamus go over as the number one contender. And then after that, you build towards WrestleMania. And then use whatever fast lanes in there. Build up in fast lane. Sheamus kicking Drew in the face after Edge came out and warned him and everything, and Sheamus turning heel on him, was the most is now the most pointless fucking thing ever. 100% pointless. And Sheamus and Drew ain't going to happen at WrestleMania. I totally agree with what everybody's been saying. Sheamus and Drew ain't going to happen now at WrestleMania. And I'll be amazed if it does. And if it does, it's probably meaningless now. If it happens at Mania. It's probably going to be a great match, I'm not going to lie. But it's meaningless. Sheamus turning on Drew it was the complete waste of time. Period. The whole fucking thing just makes no sense now. And now Drew is forced in there. I know why Drew has been forced to defend his WWE title anyway, because Edge hasn't picked. And we all know 100% that Edge is going to end up going for Reigns. It's just a case of when. More than likely going to be after the Elimination Chamber. The whole thing just makes no sense. Now, and yeah, WWE has gone back to their ways. They fucked up the Elimination Chamber. Big time. Because the Elimination Chamber now is meaningless. It's irrelevant. Fastlane will probably mean more than the Elimination Chamber. And that pay-per-view just been thrown in just to fill time to go to WrestleMania. They don't need that pay-per-view there to begin with. If they're going to have WrestleMania in April, you build one big, huge... You use the time you've got from Elimination Chamber to Mania and you just build from there. You don't need Fastlane pay-per-view. Just build one big, huge story going into WrestleMania from there, and then you've got yourself a cracking WrestleMania. Fastlane is pointless. I mean, that's what I do with my GMW. I mean, I could have had two then there, but I thought, no, let's just go straight to Let's go straight to my WrestleMania. Fuck the spare one. I don't need another one. But like I say, WWE does not need Fastlane. But Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, Fastlane, and then Mania in April. I can't wait until they have Mania in March again. What they're going to do then? Have Royal Rumble, and about 2 weeks later have Elimination Chamber. Then 2 weeks after that they're going to have Fastlane. The whole thing just makes no sense. And WWE is making WrestleMania season pointless. I mean, let's have a look at the people in there. to begin with. This is the thing that I don't get. Okay? And if anybody is watching this right now, and anybody has a respectable, logical question of why this is happening, could somebody explain to me why the fuck the Miz is in there? What the fuck has he done? Except carrying around a briefcase that he doesn't deserve. He's probably going to cash that in and lose. And it's already rumoured that he's not going to... We all know deep down he is not going to win the Royal Rumble, the Elimination Chamber anyway. Because this guy's going to freaking go to WrestleMania. He's going to go to WrestleMania in a tag match, which is pretty obvious. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be him and Miz. It's going to be Miz and Morrison in a tag match against Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. And even I said that to begin with. You could see it happening in the Rumble. So what the fuck is he doing in the Elimination Chamber? I don't know. He doesn't deserve to be in there to begin with. Jeff Hardy's been thinking with Elias. The only person out of the whole 5 that are in there that has a logical reason to be in there, in my opinion, is AJ Styles. You know? I mean, Orton's going to be probably facing The Fiend at WrestleMania. The Fiend will probably come back at the Elimination Chamber and screw him out the title, which gives Orton a reason to go and fight him at Mania. You know, don't get me wrong. I want to see Jeff Hardy with that WWE title again. Hell, I want to see Jeff Hardy with that freaking No More Words theme song. When is that coming back? Can somebody explain that to me? There was talk about it for months and months and months. Even Hardy said it himself, he wanted it back. He said he was going to come back soon. Still waiting. He looks so out of place now with that Hardy Boys theme. Coming out with the Hardy Boys theme. He looks so out of place with that theme song now. Oh, I really don't know what to do. And then I've had to listen to another podcast today because some asshole on this podcast has got kicked off of 2 podcasts and basically said his farewell and told nothing but lies on his farewell and tried to keep it, I guess you could say tried to keep it kayfabe. This is the stuff that hurts my brain. This is why I go on rant. Fake people, WWE bullshit. Thank God for the network, man. I know the network has had a change and everything, but thank God for the network. Because when WWE, IRL, comes in, I mean, I can go and watch all the old stuff, because the old stuff is better than the new stuff. And, you know, God bless NXT. Because if you want a real good wrestling show, you go and watch NXT. Seriously, you go and watch NXT. You go and watch NXT. Because NXT in WWE terms is the #1 brand. And I'm sick and tired of people saying that NXT is the breeding ground to the main roster and everything like that. Yes, to a point it is, but everybody knows by now, and if you don't, you're ignorant. Everybody knows by now that NXT is the #1 brand in that company, and NXT is pretty much the main roster. You know, shit not making sense hurts my brain. You know, I mean, apparently now the straight up wrestling podcast is now a straight up podcast. You know, the jackass who leads that has been kicked off of 2 shows, but then he thinks he's going to work with a guy who kicks off, who's kicked him off the friggin' network to begin with. He thinks he's still going to wrestle him, or he's still going to work with him and everything down the road. I still can't get over that Royal Rumble thing they did. Oh, William McIntyre and William Goldberg and Drew McIntyre. Oh, God. I mean, WWE at this point is like that podcast. Shit. I mean, Raw, SmackDown, God knows what planet they're on at the moment. Although SmackDown has been alright, I'll be honest with you. And I can say at the moment, this week, SmackDown's probably going to be better than Raw. Because I don't know what the fuck I saw on Monday night, especially with that. Pointless Shane coming back. Pointless Elimination Chamber. Just pointless. You know? You know? It's shite. It's shit, I tell you. Ugh. I feel a lot better now that I've got this off my chest, ladies and gentlemen. I really do. I feel a lot better. Why can't booking or things make sense in this world? Why do you have to have stupidity in this world? You know, stupidity that makes you do Gordon Ramsay impersonations and doesn't bang your head against a brick wall. Oh my God. I mean, why? Why? I could put on a better show than I do Tuesdays and Thursdays with my GMW series than I do on Twitch. For Christ's sake. Oh, it just makes no sense. Shit makes no sense, guys. Just makes no sense whatsoever. And I don't know why I bother watching WWE sometimes with that. Even I saw it as well. I'm like, booking's got to make sense in wrestling. If it doesn't, people are not going to get involved. People are not going to be invested in it. They're just going to look twice at it and think, what's the point? You know, AEW has been great because now they've got a partnership now with Impact Wrestling and now with New Japan, it seems, as well. Because Moxley's now, even though he's not the AEW World Champion anymore, he's walking around carrying the IWGP United States title, building up to his match with Kenta. How dare you attack me to you WWE fans? You know? Wrestling has to make sense. You can't insult the wrestling fans, otherwise they're not going to be invested in your product. And WWE, as of Monday night, have gone back down that road again. Will it be improved in the coming weeks? I'd bloody hope so for their sake. Because if it keeps up with this, nobody's probably going to watch the Elimination Chamber. You know? And nobody's going to probably be invested in WrestleMania. It's got to be believable. It's got to make sense. If it doesn't make sense, it's completely, utterly pointless. I mean, sometimes you can get away with things not making sense. You know, sometimes you can get away with that. You know, I just want to see, like every wrestling fan, a great show Monday and Friday night. If I'm going to be in. If I'm going to check, I want to see stuff on there that's going to go, you, come here. And they go, whoa. And you wonder why I watch other promotions? ICW. Progress Wrestling. I can watch them now on the network. Because they're on the WWE network now. You know, I dab into Ring of Honor here and there to see what's up. You know, Impact Wrestling and AEW. I love this partnership they've got going on, especially with New Japan. Because they're making their shit interesting and they're making people watch that show one week and then see what happens on there and then make them want to come back the following week. The whole shit is interesting. That's what I like. Unpredictability. But in WWE, not only do you get unpredictability, but 90% of the time you get predictability. And it hurts my brain. It really does. Right, that about wraps it up for this episode, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Like, share, and subscribe. Whether you're watching this, listening to this on audio, I will put out an audio for this one as well. And just have your ways with it and enjoy it. This will be up on the YouTube channel, and this will be up on Twitch, my Twitch channel at some point as well. And this will be up on my Facebook page as well at some point. So enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Enjoy whatever it is you're doing, and I'll see you next time as well. Yes, I'm trying to build this podcast back up again. It's a slow process. It's pretty much when I can at the moment, but I'm trying to build in and everything, but I'm going through a bit of a rough spare at the moment with this friggin' lockdown, doing my nothing and everything. So I'm trying to do the best I can to build this podcast. It's a slow process, but the podcast is back, and it's just a slow process building it back up again. But once it gets back up again, it gets back up and running. We go from there, basically. We'll do it. But like I say, it's a good thing I've got this podcast, because I can just come on here and just shoot with you guys. So, like, share, and subscribe, guys. There'll be more podcasts. There will be more podcasts. I promise you now. And all the information you need if you want to get in touch with me is down below. And I'll see you next time, guys. Have a good evening. Have a good day. Whatever it is you're doing. And I'll see you soon. Peace. And remember, wrestling matters. Because at the moment in WWE, it doesn't. Peace out, y'all.